Greetings and welcome back to our country music station. Waylon Jennings was a pioneer who helped to define the outlaw country movement, in addition to becoming a symbol of defiance. His brilliance and boldness caused dramatic shifts that rocked the music business. However, under the glittering limelight was a life filled with unrelenting difficulties and adversity. Waylon Jennings had a life filled with agony and tragedy, from tumultuous marriages and an ongoing struggle with addiction to debilitating pain that eventually compelled him to amputate a portion of his body. He kept shining in spite of the chaos and internal conflicts, leaving a musical legacy that enthralled millions of people all over the globe. How did his body degenerate as a result of his lifestyle? Did this renowned figure's suffering destroy his career? Let's explore the singer that revolutionized country music and her dramatic, sad, but powerful career. On June 15, 1937, Waylon Jennings was born Waylon Jennings at the J.W. The oldest son of L. Bitner Farm was located close to Littlefield, Texas. William Albert Jennings and Beatrice Shipley, Tommy, James, and Bo were his three younger brothers, making him one of four children in the family. Although Waylon seldom brought up this part of his past in interviews, the Jennings family had a distinctive blend of Irish, Dutch, and even Cherokee and Comanche Native American blood. Wayland Baptist College, now Wayland Baptist University, served as the inspiration for his initial name, Wayland. But his mother altered the spelling to Waylon at the advice of a Baptist minister. Waylon first thought his new name was too country, but he gradually came to terms with it and made it an integral part of his personality and career. The Jennings family lived in poverty while he was growing up. Prior to relocating the family to Littlefield to operate an ice cream business and drive a truck, his father worked on the Bitner Farm. He was also an amateur musician who played guitar and harmonica. Waylon had a difficult childhood. Waylon had to deal with familial obligations and financial strains from an early age, although his contemporaries had a carefree upbringing. Waylon's natural aptitude was evident in spite of these obstacles. He shone a deep love of music from a young age. His mother handed him his first guitar when he was 8 years old, and he rapidly learned how to play it on his own. In order to promote himself as a notable young talent in his neighborhood, he also started presenting a local radio program. Waylon's tenacious attitude was created by the mix of his innate skill and the hard realities of life. He left school early, not because he didn't want to, but because he had to. His inspirational musical career began with this tough choice. Waylon made the decision to face hardship with a strong love of music, a drive that would eventually enable him to conquer even more difficult obstacles in life. Waylon Jennings' love for music began at a young age, and by the time he was 14, he was not only playing the guitar, but also hosting his own radio program on KVOW with a weekly 30-minute section. He started his remarkable career by winning a talent contest on Channel 13 with his performance of Hey Joe. Jennings founded the Texas Longhorns, his first band, quite fast. The trio combined contemporary bluegrass and country sounds, although local audiences did not always like their concerts. He had several difficulties in the early years of his profession. After experiencing numerous disciplinary problems, Jennings left school at the age of 16 and earned a living by working as a truck driver and at his family's ice cream parlor. He never gave up on his goal of becoming a musician, however. A pivotal moment in Jennings' life occurred when he met the iconic rock and roll hero Buddy Holly while performing locally. Holly chose to teach Jennings after seeing his ability right away. Buddy Holly became as Jennings' career accelerator rather than only a mentor. Joel Blon and When Sin Stops, Love Begins, two of Jennings' songs were recorded by Holly in Norman Petty's studio in New Mexico. A rare and important chance for a new musician, he also asked Jennings to play bass for the Winter Dance Party tour, but happiness quickly gave way to sorrow. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper perished in an aircraft accident on February 3, 1959. Compassionately giving up his seat on the aircraft to the Big Bopper, Jennings barely survived. Holly joked, "I hope your bus freezes," before the aircraft took off, to which Jennings responded, "I hope your plane crashes." That teasing comment tormented Jennings for the rest of his life. In an effort to support his music career after the tragedy, Jennings went back to work as a DJ at KLLL and gave performances in local venues. But he was devastated by Holly's passing and fell into a profound state of mourning. His job performance declined, and he departed KLLL to work at KDAV after being passed up for a rise. However, he didn't make much headway there. Jennings started to establish his musical style in spite of a terrible loss and many challenges. He began fusing bluegrass, rock and roll, and country music to create a unique sound that set him up for success in the future. In addition to leaving him with a lifetime of shame, the aircraft accident tragedy strengthened his resolve to pursue a profession that pushed boundaries. Waylon Jennings' career saw a boom in the 1960s and 1970s as he surmounted many challenges to establish himself as a timeless figure in country music. But his rise to prominence wasn't without its setbacks, dangers, and groundbreaking choices. Jennings' relationship with one of the greatest rock and roll icons, Buddy Holly, helped establish his professional career. Holly exposed Jennings to the world of professional music in addition to recognizing his aptitude. Holly asked Jennings to play bass for the Winter Dance Party Tour, where he was able to pick the brain of one of the greatest musicians of the time. But the 1959 aircraft tragedy that killed Holly left Jennings with lifelong anguish and a heavy burden of shame. A tragic event in music history, the disaster on February 3, 1959, also referred to as the day the music died, had a significant effect on Jennings' life. The Winter Dance Party Tour, which Jennings was playing bass for at the time, featured a demanding schedule beset by inclement weather and frequent travel. In ill-equipped buses, the artist braved bitter cold. Holly made arrangements for a small charter jet from Dwyer Flying Service in Clear Lake, Iowa, to transport him and his bandmates to their next destination in Moorhead, Minnesota, in order to alleviate the stress and safeguard their health. Waylon Jennings, guitarist Tommy Allsup, and Buddy Holly were originally scheduled to board the four-seater aircraft. But thanks to percussionist J.P. Jennings, gave up his seat for the big bopper Richardson, who had the sick and had to escape the unpleasant bus journey. Richie Valens, a teenage artist, grabbed the last seat when Tommy Allsup lost a coin toss. Jennings responded with a joke of his own. "I hope your plane crashes." Holly joked with Jennings before they boarded, "I hope your bus freezes." It was a lighthearted conversation between friends, but it would haunt Jennings for the rest of his life. After takeoff, just after 1 a.m., the aircraft crashed into a cornfield close to Mason City, Iowa, on February 3, 1959, as a result of bad weather and poor flying circumstances. Buddy Holly, the quintessential rock and roll performer, Richie Valens, the up-and-coming talent behind the smash song La Bamba, J.P. Roger Peterson, pilot, and the big bopper Richardson, performer and drummer. In addition to losing a close friend, the tragedy left Jennings with a lifelong psychological weight. He was haunted by the deadly joke he had told Holly and tormented by remorse over giving up his place on the aircraft. Even though Jennings eventually went on tour with the band, the incident left him emotionally scarred for years to come. He acknowledged that one of the things that led him into an addiction spiral was the guilt he felt after the collision. In addition to being a depressing chapter in rock and roll history, the day the music died marked a sea shift in Waylon Jennings' life. After Buddy Holly passed away, Jennings went through a difficult time trying to make a name for himself in the music business. To make ends meet, he played in clubs and worked as a DJ at several tiny radio stations. In spite of fierce competition, Jennings started to develop his own sound, a fusion of rock, country, and folk that was both genuine and powerful. His distinct style set him apart in the country music industry. Under the direction of Chet Atkins, a major contributor to the success of many country musicians of the time, Jennings' career really took off when he signed with RCA Records in the early 1960s. But Jennings soon became frustrated with Nashville's strict production practices, where producers exercised strict control and stifled the artistic freedom he so desperately desired. In an effort to overcome these limitations, Jennings rose to prominence as a spokesperson for the outlaw country movement, a revolution in country music that embraced creative independence and disregarded conventional wisdom. Willie Nelson and Tom Paul Glaser were among the performers who joined the outlaw country movement, which changed how people thought about country music. In addition to being a trailblazer, Jennings came to represent defiance and self-reliance. Songs like Good-Hearted Woman and Are You Sure Hank Done It This Way cemented his reputation as a musician who was not afraid to question the existing quo by producing songs that captured unfiltered emotions and real-life hardships. This was a daring declaration of change in the production of country music, not merely a musical trend. When the album Wanted was released in 1976, Jennings' career reached its zenith. Tom Paul Glasser, Willie Nelson, and Jesse Coulter collaborated to become the Outlaws. This was the first country album to receive platinum certification, ushering in a new era for the genre. The popularity of Wanted, the Outlaws not only represented a turning point in Jennings' career, but also entrenched the outlaw country movement as a cultural phenomenon of the 1970s. Beyond this, Jennings made a lasting mark with timeless singles like Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys and Luckenbach, Texas, Back to the Basics of Love, which reflected the emotive storytelling style of Jennings and the harsh realities of life in the American West. His music struck a deep chord with listeners by fusing strong melodies, a gritty voice, and moving lyrics. The popularity of Jennings went beyond his solo career. He formed the supergroup The Highwaymen alongside Nelson, Johnny Cash, and Chris Christopherson in the 1980s. With songs like Highwaymen, the trio made a lasting impression on music history and gave outstanding performances. Millions of admirers across the globe were moved by the unmatched power that these four titans produced together. Jennings was renowned for his unique manner of performing as well. His distinctive playing style and renowned Fender Telecaster guitar gave him a strong, dramatic sound that was all his own. His songs told relatable tales of life, love, and adversity. They were not just rebellious, but also very personal. Beyond his work as an artist, Jennings became a significant influence to generations to come. He contributed to the redefining of country music and left a lasting musical legacy with his timeless hits and the outlaw country movement. As a tribute to the strength of willpower and unrelenting inventiveness, Jennings' career helped him transcend boundaries and establish himself as one of the biggest legends in the history of country music. One Jennings' turbulent career was a reflection of his equally turbulent and difficult personal life. He was married 4 times over his life, and each marriage had a lasting impact on his path. When Juan was just 18, he married Maxine Lawrence for the first time in 1956. Terry Vance Jennings, Julie Ray Jennings, Buddy Dean Jennings, and Dina Jennings are the couple's 4 children. Terry, the oldest, became a talented artist manager after quitting school at the age of 15 to accompany his father on tour. The only member of the family who wasn't scared to confront Juan when he veered off course was Julie Ray, who was renowned for having a strong will and a determined attitude. Juan once acknowledged that because of her unwavering nature, Julie Ray was the one person he really dreaded. She tragically died of cancer in 2014, leaving behind a great deal of grief. While Deanna had a quiet life until her passing in 2015, Buddy, who was named after Buddy Holly, devoted his life to upholding his father's legacy. Even though Juan loved his kids, his relationship with Maxine was damaged by his immaturity and life's stresses, which ultimately resulted in their 1962 divorce. Juan adopted her daughter, Tommy Lynn, after marrying Lynn Jones. This marriage ended in 1967 after 5 years. Another chapter of misery was added when his third marriage to Barbara Roode ended in divorce. His life didn't start to drastically alter until he met Jesse Coulter. After being married in 1969, they produced a son named Shooter Jennings, who had a prosperous career in outlaw country music and continued his father's musical heritage. Jesse supported Juan through his worst moments and was more than just a wife. She became his rock, supporting him as he battled despair and addiction. Additionally, Jesse gave him the confidence and support he needed to keep going despite his struggles with diabetes and heart problems. Juan gave up to drug misuse as a result of the burdens of his life and job. In the 1970s, he started using medications because he thought they would help him stay energized. But this soon turned into a 20-year addiction that at its height cost him $1,500 a day for cocaine, which was a huge sum at the time. His family and career were in danger of being destroyed by the addiction, which also severely damaged his health. When Jennings was jailed for marijuana possession in Nashville in 1977, his life took a startling turn. When authorities searched a recording studio and found cocaine in his office, the event took place. Juan faced harsh allegations in this high-stakes scenario, putting him in grave legal danger. Juan used the arrest's procedural weaknesses to his advantage while he talked with his counsel throughout his custody. As a consequence, when charges were withdrawn for lack of evidence, he barely avoided going to jail. Even though he escaped going to prison, the event damaged his image and made people wonder whether the country music star's myth was true. His body and mind continued to suffer greatly as a result of his addiction. As Juan said in a 1984 interview with CMA Close-Up, "I've done more drugs than anyone you'll ever meet in your life." He decided to completely stop using narcotics without the help of a rehabilitation facility the same year, which changed his life. Juan sequestered himself in Arizona, confronting the suffering and agony of withdrawal head-on with Jesse's steadfast support. Throughout it all, Jesse supported him, not just providing care, but also providing the mental fortitude that helped him get through this terrifying experience. They persevered through the storm together, and Juan came out stronger than ever, which is evidence of their unshakable relationship and his unwavering spirit. Even though his health suffered greatly, Juan Jennings eventually overcame his addiction and took back his life. Despite these obstacles, his tenacity and Jesse Coulter's everlasting devotion gave his latter years a fresh lease of life. His tale serves as a tribute to the strength of love and willpower, in addition to being one of recovery from addiction. Jennings had terrible losses and health issues in his latter years. The great artist faced one last obstacle as a result of the permanent effects of his bad lifestyle during his prime. For 41 years, Jennings smoked heavily, up to 6 packs a day, in addition to using narcotics. This habit seriously harmed his health in his latter years, especially his heart. December 1988, he was forced to stop smoking after undergoing triple bypass surgery to treat serious artery blockages. "I had to change my diet," he said after the treatment. Sadly, his steps were too late. "Smoking was the cause of my problems." Jennings had been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes by the early 1990s, which had a serious negative influence on his health and resulted in hazardous consequences. To avoid a potentially fatal infection brought on by the disease's development, he had his left foot amputated in December 2001. Although this choice saved his life, it took away his freedom and mobility. In order to protect his health, doctors recommended that Jennings discontinue touring. He responded by selling off a large portion of his musical gear at auction, which many believed would be the end of his performance career. But Jennings wasn't one to give up quickly. Despite his deteriorating condition, he made a comeback to the stage less than a year later, doing concerts and still sharing his music with his fans. His enduring passion for music was shown by this return. A lasting musical legacy and a potent warning of the repercussions of leading an imbalanced lifestyle under the demands of celebrity were left behind when Jennings died on February 13, 2002, at the age of 64, from complications connected to diabetes. Jennings often found himself in the center of rumors and arguments over his long career, which added drama to an already tumultuous existence. Known for his direct and unyielding nature, he had complicated relationships with a number of well-known colleagues, such as Hank Williams Jr. and Merle Haggard. Their strong personalities and divergent viewpoints sometimes resulted in irreconcilable disagreements, despite their mutual love of country music and their joint contribution to the outlaw country movement. Additionally, Jennings was notorious for disobeying the Nashville music production structure. He publicly denounced what he saw to be a constrictive setting that hindered the artistic freedom of an artist. One especially noteworthy instance was when he left the stage in the middle of a performance because he was unhappy with the arrangements made by the producer. This audacious deed not only demonstrated his unwavering character, but also solidified his reputation as an artist who isn't scared to stick to his convictions no matter the cost. Jennings's tremendous brilliance was not overshadowed by the rumors that surrounded his relationships and profession. Rather, they emphasized the rebellious and audacious nature of an artist who isn't scared to confront anybody or anything in order to defend his creative principles. In spite of hardship, Jennings' narrative continues to serve as a testament to strong individualism and an unwavering quest for authenticity. Jennings's music had a very personal touch, characterized by a powerful, rough voice and unusual rhythmic phrasing, and he became a cultural icon known for his unique style and identifiable image. Additionally, Jennings was praised for his inventive, spanky twang guitar playing, which combined flat picking and finger picking methods. His distinctive hammer-on and pull-off riffs, together with strong phaser effects, demonstrated his painstaking attention to rhythm and precision. Jennings often used his 1953 Fender Telecaster, a unique present from his bandmates, the Wailers, over his career. Black leather with white flowery inscriptions was used to embellish the instrument. This customized accent became a defining feature of his image. Additionally, he altered the guitar's configuration by lowering the strings to produce a characteristic slap sound that characterized his own musical approach. In addition, Jennings sent guitarist Reggie Young a 1950 Fender Broadcaster as a gift in 1993. Terry Lanford, an artisan, created the leather covers for his guitars by hand, adding to their legendary reputation in the music industry. Jennings's reputation was just as strong as his songs. His black cowboy hat, leather vests, long hair, and full beard gave him a tough, free-spirited look that perfectly captured the spirit of the outlaw country movement he supported. This picture was a daring declaration of creative independence and uniqueness, as well as personal taste. In addition to revolutionizing country music, Jennings's style and musical legacy had a profound impact on other genres, including rock and folk, inspiring generations of musicians. In order to ensure that audiences today understand the breadth of his life and work, his family, especially Jesse Coulter and Shooter Jennings, has persisted in preserving and advancing his legacy. Fans still hold Jennings close to their hearts despite his passing because of his music, persona, and the tales of his extraordinary life. In addition to his timeless successes, his legacy is characterized by his inventiveness and will to persevere in the face of hardship, making him a constant source of inspiration for both art and life. Waylon Jennings' life is a colorful tapestry that is interwoven with both intense suffering and the brilliant brightness of achievement. He had an emotional, difficult, and profoundly meaningful life, overcoming hardship, suffering irreplaceable losses, and creating a lasting musical legacy. How do you feel about Waylon Jennings' story? How have you been impacted by his legacy and image? Post your thoughts in the comments section below, and remember to press like and subscribe to ensure you don't miss any more engrossing and motivational tales. Despite all of his ups and downs, Waylon Jennings has left a lasting impact. I'll see you in the next video.